But now I'd like to take a few minutes just to talk through the government cyber essentials and cyber assurance schemes. Starting with cyber essentials, when it comes to cybersecurity, apart from doing nothing, the least you could do is cyber essentials. So, what is it and where did it come from? Back in 2014, the UK government asked the spooks at the National Cybersecurity Centre, as part of GCHQ, to come up with a basic set of cybersecurity protections that were suitable for every business to implement, but secure enough that meeting them would qualify you to process data on behalf of the UK government. And the result was the Cyber Essentials scheme. Now, it's developed over time, but today it still represents the same five basic things that every organization should do to protect itself from cybercrime. And it still opens the door to being able to supply to UK government and national government. Now, according to the UK's NCSC, Cyber Essentials is an effective government-backed scheme that will help protect your organization against a whole range of common cyber attacks, whatever its size. Now, cyber attacks come in many shapes and sizes, but the vast majority are very basic in nature. They're carried out by relatively unskilled individuals, and they're the digital equivalent of a thief trying your front door to see if it's unlocked. And the Cyber Essentials scheme is designed to prevent these kinds of attacks. Now, the CEO of the NCSC, Lindy Cameron, she said that firms with Cyber Essentials are 80% less likely to need to make a claim on their cyber insurance. And the scheme has been running for a long time, so there's lots of good evidence to validate this claim of its effectiveness. And Cyber Essentials also provides free cyber insurance cover of £25,000. So, in the unlikely event that you are the victim of cybercrime after passing Cyber Essentials, the scheme includes this cover to help you fix the problems and get back up on your feet. Right? So, it sounds like a great deal, right? Well, the scheme was designed to be attractive and accessible to every business, charity, and organisation in the UK. So, maybe you can have your cake and eat it. Now, there's two flavours of Cyber Essentials. It's called Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus. And they differ in this way. First of all, Cyber Essentials is a verified self-assessment, which basically means you fill in a long questionnaire with 1 or 2 sentence answers, and a certification body like Cool Waters verifies and validates your answers against the rules of the scheme. And no one checks for the truthfulness or the accuracy of your answers, but a board member does need to sign to say it's an honest report. And Cyber Essentials costs between £300 and £500 a year based on your number of employees. Now, whereas Cyber Essentials Plus, that's validated with a technical audit, which is there to prove the effectiveness of the security controls in place. And the pricing is set by the certification body, depending on the size and the complexity of your organization, but typically starts at about £1,400 or so and goes up from there. So, what does Cyber Essentials give you? Well, Cyber Essentials is designed around the 5 most essential security controls any business needs to have in place. These are firewalls, which keep hackers out of your network and out of your computers. It checks that you have secure configuration in place, making sure all the settings on your systems are correct in order to keep those systems secure. It looks at logins and passwords, ensuring people have access that they need to do their job, but no more, and that the passwords and logins are secure and not easily guessed. Anti-malware makes sure that you're protected from viruses and other malicious software. It protects you from ransomware and other malicious software from getting into your computers. And finally, applying updates is making sure that all your software updates are applied on time every month, because you may not realize this, but those software updates, they're mostly fixing security flaws that, if they're left unpatched, can be abused by hackers getting into your systems. It's like discovering that all the locks in your street don't work properly. So that criminal who's going along and checking all the front doors to see if he can break in, if you haven't applied your updates, you haven't fixed your locks, he can walk right in whenever he wants to. So briefly, how can Cool Waters help you with Cyber Essentials? Well, if you're based in Cornwall, we are Cornwall's only certification body, which means that you can work with any certification body in the country, okay, but we're the only one local to your part of the world. So if you want to meet up face to face, you want us to get involved in coming into your business to help you get compliant with Cyber Essentials, we're the local choice. We can help check your answers, and we can even work with you and your IT team to fill it in completely. That's one of the unique things about Cyber Essentials and Cyber Assurance. They're designed to be educational standards. Yeah, they're not a driving test. The government wants you to pass by understanding what's required and getting the help you need to get your company compliant with all the needs of the standards. So the certification body is allowed to tell you what's wrong, explain what you need to do to fix it, to make sure you do in fact get compliant. I'll briefly just talk about one of our services that we offer. Our most popular service is our all-inclusive managed cyber team, which is where we run your cybersecurity on a day-to-day basis, protecting all your computers, your PCs, your servers, protecting all your data with everything you need, and we manage it all for you. Cyber Essentials compliance is included as a minimum and includes all this stuff that's listed on the screen. It's like having your own in-house cybersecurity team, but for about, we reckon, 30% less on average than the cost of employing those people dedicated in-house. You may well have an IT support company, that kind of sets up your Windows PCs and fixes your laptops and stuff. But often those firms, great as they are, they're not cybersecurity experts. So we often find that we work alongside those firms. We don't do desktop support at Courters. We're not going to install your version of Excel or reinstall Windows on a laptop that someone dropped down the stairs. That's not what we do. We focus just on cybersecurity. So we work alongside your existing desktop support organization. So what does it mean if you are successful in getting Cyber Essentials? Yeah, well, it will help you attract new customers, reassure existing customers, open the door to those government contracts that have a prerequisite of cyber assurance compliance. And you as a business owner or a manager have a very clear picture of your own security stance. But what comes next? Maybe you already have Cyber Essentials and you're thinking you need to take it further. Well, for those firms wanting to do more than the minimum, yes, the least you can do, maybe because your clients are demanding it or your shareholders or trustees want a higher degree of assurance that the business or the charity is safe. Maybe you process a lot of personal data and you want assurance that GDPR has been correctly followed. Well, the answer to that is a scheme called Cyber Assurance. And it's the next level up from Cyber Essentials. And it's designed and run by the same people who run the Cyber Essentials scheme. And you have to have Cyber Essentials in place first, but you can then layer Cyber Assurance on the top. And it looks very similar. It works in two ways. You've got level one, which is the verified self-assessment. Another one of those long Excel spreadsheets to fill in, and someone checks the answers for you. Or you have the audited assessment, which again is variable, set by the certification body, depends on the size and complexity of your organization, but you're probably looking at about £1,400 upwards for that, because we visit your offices and we make sure, with a physical validation as well as just going through the Excel spreadsheet, looking at your answers. So we check that the answers are correct, that you've understood the question, implemented everything required properly, and it goes much beyond just the basics. Cyber assurance was designed to be a lower cost alternative to ISO 27001, and increasingly we're seeing organisations benefit when they're bidding for contracts. For example, the UK Ministry of Justice, the Government of Jersey, they both accept cyber assurance as an alternative to ISO 27001 when it comes to supplier accreditations. Now, Jake's going to tell us more about ISO 27001 later. But when thinking about the cyber assurance standard, we find the cost to implement is about a third of the cost of implementing ISO 27001. Yet it's going to take you well over halfway towards ISO compliance if you want to do that later. So you can build on these certifications over time if you want to. Start with Cyber Essentials, move up to Cyber Assurance, and then if there's a need for your business, move on to ISO 27001. So what does Cyber Assurance give you? Well, it covers these areas which are, go much broader than Cyber Essentials covers. Things like how do you respond to cyber security incidents? How do you manage your assets, physical, data, logical, virtual? How do you manage your people? What's the physical security like for your office and where your computers live? It looks at GDPR compliance across the whole business. Do you have all the right policies and procedures in place? Are they documented? Are people following them? It also looks at business continuity and disaster recovery. So how will your business cope if there's a disaster? Unforeseen circumstances like, I don't know, a global pandemic or flooding, things that we never imagined we would see in our lifetimes and have unfortunately all come true. Cyber assurance looks at, much broader than security. It looks at that in its broadest sense. Is your business protected across all areas? So as you can see, it's a much broader standard covering much more of how your business is run and how it's protected. Now, from a standing start, if you imagine you have very little in place today, then in my experience, most firms need about 6 months work to achieve cyber assurance. And the easiest way to do that is getting someone to help you, like us with our managed cyber team. We do all the work for you as your in-house security team. Once we achieve cyber essentials, we keep on going until we achieve cyber assurance for you. Now, for many small and medium-sized enterprises and larger charities, I think cyber assurance is all you're going to need to be confident that your cybersecurity is well in hand and your people and your data are well protected.